channel. I'm Irishguy. I'm Jesse, and if you're catching me on Facebook or YouTube, please give me a like, stick around, share, subscribe, and it'd be appreciated if you guys would stick around, because right now, December 3rd, we're working on step 12, the 12th step. So having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. So if we were talking about step 12, we're talking about going through all the way from step 1 to all the way to step 12. But step 1 showed us an amazing paradox. We found that we were totally unable to get rid of the alcohol obsession until we first admitted that we were powerless over it. Amen. Step 1. We saw that since we could not restore ourselves to sanity, some higher power must necessarily do it if we were to survive. Now, consequently, in step 3, we turned our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. And for the time being, we were who atheists or agnostic discovered that maybe our own group or AA as a whole would suffice as a higher power for now. Beginning with step 4, we commenced to search out the things in our lives which had brought us to physical, moral, and spiritually bankruptcy. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory. Oh yeah, looking at step 5, we decided that an inventory taken alone wouldn't be enough. So we knew that we would have to quit the deadly business of living alone with all our conflicts and in honesty confide these to God and to another human being. So here at step 6, many of us balked for the practical reason that we did not wish to have all of our defects of character removed because we still loved so much of them. Yet we knew that we had to make a settlement with the fundamental principle in step 6. So we decided that while we still had some flaws of character that we would not yet relinquish, but we ought nevertheless to quit our stubborn, rebellious hanging on to them, right? So we said to ourselves, this cannot do today. Perhaps I can stop crying out, no, never. Then in step 7, we humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings, such as He could or would under the conditions of the day that we asked. Now in step 8, we continued our house cleaning, for we saw that we were not only in conflict with ourselves, but also with the people and situations in the world in which we lived. Now we had to begin to make our peace, and so we listed the people we had harmed and were willing to set things right. So we followed this up in step 9 by making direct amends to those concerned, except for when to do so would injure them or other. So by this time at step 10, we had begun to get a basis for our daily living, like so many of us, and we keenly realized that we would need to continue taking personal inventory, and at that, when we were in the wrong, we ought to admit it promptly. In step 11, we saw that if a higher power had restored us to sanity and had enabled us to live with some peace of mind in a sorely troubled world, then such a higher power is worth knowing better by as direct contact as possible. So the persistent use of meditation and prayer, we found, did open the channel so that there's a trickle, but now there's a river that has led sure power and safe guidance from God as we understood Him, and that was increasingly getting better and better, and we are increasingly being able to understand Him more and more. So in practicing these steps, my brothers and sisters, we had a spiritual awakening about which finally there was no question. Looking at those who were really at the beginning and still doubting themselves, the rest of us are able to see the change setting in. From great numbers of such experiences, we could predict that the doubter who still claimed that he hadn't got the spiritual angle yet, and who still considered his well-loved AA group the higher power, would presently love God and call Him by name. Now, what about the rest of the 12th step? The wonderful energy it releases and the eager action by which it carries our message to the next suffering alcoholic, and which finally translates the 12th step into action upon all of our affairs, is the payoff, the magnificent reality of our program of recovery. God bless you.